Everybody. Let me just make sure that we are here and we are live. All right, looks like we're here. Awesome. All right, welcome everybody. Excited to have you. Let me open the chat here so I can see it. If this is your first time here, or if not your first time here, just take a minute while we let people in. Just say hi in the comment box. Let us know where you're from. As we see a bunch of you trickle in here. All right. Let me just make sure. Okay, cool. Can you guys see me, hear me? It looks like you guys can. But just let me know. Okay. Yes. If you guys also want, you can use this. So some of you are still coming in and it's not showing your full name. If you click on that link, it will actually help put your name into Restream so we can actually see it. All right, so while you are doing that, let me just say hello to some people. So we got Robin and Claire here, Alex here. Good to see you guys come back. If you're new, welcome. I might just not be able to see your names just yet here, but just wanted to welcome you as well. And what I'd love for you guys to do is just in the comment box, because we're going to talk a lot about self-sabotage today. What I'd love for you to do is just in the comment box, share ways that you've noticed that you create self-sabotage. Is it maybe you notice that you do something wonky inside of relationships, like things get too real, or and then you'll just do something wonky to like make the other person leave or make the other person get angry or whatever it is. You know, we all do some like weird stuff around relationships. Maybe it's around your business and your finances. Like you notice this pattern that you get to a certain place and then you'll just do something to sabotage your income. Maybe it's something around your health, right? Like you go on this diet, you're feeling really good, and then something will happen and you'll self-sabotage. So I'm just really curious what you've already noticed around your ways that you self-sabotage, because we're going to talk a lot about that here today. So I'll give you guys just a minute here and let you guys type that in. Because self-sabotage is something that runs our lives, you know, and unchecked and unexplored will continue to run your life no matter what. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today, but I'd love to just get a gauge of who's in the room here. So let's see. Claire says, having a very clear intuition, but brain get in the way and tells me all the reasons why I can't work, etc. Great. So the self-sabotage is more around like the mind convincing you that you can't or you shouldn't, or maybe it's like not worth it or whatever it is. It's a really, really great example. Anybody else? Just drop those in there as well. How do you notice yourself self-sabotage? You know, self-sabotage is interesting because it's something that I feel like we all are aware of that we do. And then we have certain strategies that we've tried to implement on how to make ourselves stop self-sabotage. And, if your experience is anything like mine, then you probably know that throwing more information and understanding rarely, if ever, has any impact on your ability to slow down the self-sabotage. Someone says, I just shared how I got mad at myself when I was in flow because I didn't feel like this more often. Interesting. So it's like, um, I don't, I should feel this way more often, and that kind of like sends it. Some common ones I'll just throw out there. Some common ones are like a lot of people get into this place of it's too good to be true. So even in flow states, right? Like you get into these places where things are flowing and things are moving, and something will come through and inevitably go, well, this can't last forever. So when is this going to stop? Right? Like when does the other shoe hit, or when does this flow end because this is too good to be true? Jasmine writes, when I self-sabotage, I shut the people that love me out emotionally and then convince myself that I don't have support. The truth is the hands of support are extended for me to receive. That is such a good one that Jasmine's pointing to, because and Lisa says, me too. How many of you can relate to that one? That's a really, really good one where it's like, when something happens and it's not working, and what you will do is you will hibernate, push everyone out, convince yourself that no one's there, support is not ever there, no one's ever there to help me, and it basically starts to feed or refeed this story that you have about people, which basically reaffirms, and then you get into this loop. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So that seems to be a common one. Okay. So let's just take a few and we'll start to kind of unravel these self-sabotage techniques. So the first thing that I want to offer before we do anything else is that there is no way out of these self-sabotage patterns through acquiring more understanding or more information. How many of you guys know what I mean when I say that? Like, you've read books, you've inquired, you've mapped out how the self-sabotage pattern works. For example, like to what Jasmine and Lisa and Alex are pointing to, that it's just a story, right? That it's something that you do when stuff happens and life gets tough. Like, that's what you do, but you have little to no control in stopping it whatsoever. I'm going to read some of these other ones here while you're thinking about that. My daughter shared with me she does. She makes up her mind and she wants to eat healthy and will not drink milk. Then she tells all her friends to create that cage, so that will force her to keep her promise to herself. Then she feels so low and angry with herself as all she wants to do is drink milk, and then does. Yeah, it's amazing the things that we do. Always did self-sabotage, especially if anyone was supportive and kind. I'd push them and opportunities away as I associated kindness and loving words with torture. Wow. Right? Like, thank you, whoever wrote that. I can't see your name, but like that. I really want you to get that. Like, just let me pop this up here so you guys can all see it. So I'll read it again. Always did self-sabotage, especially if anyone was supportive and kind. I'd push them and the opportunities away because I associated kindness with torture. So I want you to get, like, this is the delusion that we put ourselves under. And it doesn't matter, like, this, right? You look at the way you even explained it, guys. Like, you can map out the way that you self-sabotage to the nth degree. You know how it functions. And yet, here we are, and you're still doing it. And it doesn't matter how much work you've done in your life, and right, like, we're all still kind of at the whim of that. And so if it's not more understanding, and if it's not more managing, and if it's not more trying to figure out when this thing comes up and why this thing comes up and all of that, then really, like, what's the way that we actually can begin to deal with sabotage. So before we're going to do that, I want to talk about why self-sabotage. Like, why does this keep happening, right? It's a question we ask ourselves all the time. And I want to explain to you in the simplest way possible why you self-sabotage. If you know anything about cars, I'm just going to use this car analogy. A car, when you rev the engine, has what's called a red line, right? So if you run the car to the red line, the car has certain safety measurements to stop the engine from exploding. In other words, if you were just foot on the gas and the car was just a spinning engine out of control, eventually this engine is going to blow up. So in order to save your engine, car manufacturers have had to come up and create strategies. They're called red line limiters. And what these do is they will basically cut the gas to the engine. Even if your foot is fully planted on the gas, it will literally cut the gas to the engine to slow it down and stop it from revving. Okay? Now, your system has a very similar red line limiter. When things are going too good, or when something's going to hit your system that's going to hit it with some sort of charge. For example, for people who self-sabotage around support, right? Like the energy of love and support, of someone actually being there and offering you support and holding you, is too much for your system to handle. Let that sink in for a second, because I know you want that support. I know you really, really want to feel that love and that connection. You, like your highest part of you, does. Can you notice, though, that when it starts to come, we pull back, we shut down, we go, this is too much love, too much kindness. There's got, right? And like maybe my mind, at least, I don't know about yours, but my mind, because I guess I grew up in Israel, and there's this cultural conversation that everyone's out to get you, right? Mine is always like, why are you being nice to me? What's the ulterior motive? Like, what do you want from me? Like, what's your angle, right? And so all of these things stop, literally like stop my heart from actually being able to fully feel and receive that support is there. Now, support can show up in ways of money. We talk a lot about this at our 2-day event, right? Like support is the same energy around money. If you're not open to receiving support, chances are you pretty much suck at receiving money as well. Okay. Opportunities, also energy of support. So your system, yeah. And someone, Alexandra, just pointed like, I don't deserve it, right? So this energy comes in of love. It hits the limiter, like, because maybe there's this feeling, this little girl or little boy inside that doesn't feel worthy or doesn't feel good enough or doesn't feel like they've done enough to receive this level of support. And we block. And the way we block can be multitudes, right? That is almost irrelevant. What is very important to understand is that this self-sabotage piece that you've been trying to understand is simply there as a fail-safe system in your nervous system. It is a brilliant, very intuitive and very smart mechanism that stops you from feeling too much charge, which will actually throw your system into a tizzy. Now you might be going like, well, why the fuck is that there? Like, who programmed it to stop all this love and all of these things that I really, really want to feel? I don't know who wrote that, but that is so accurate. Sounds like anyone living around NYC, everyone's out to take something from you. And New York City, if you notice, is also has a very, very similar cultural conversation. It's like, I'm here to get mine. Everyone get the fuck out of my way. Like, New Yorkers even walk a particular way. And that's why when tourists are walking the streets, every New Yorker gets super, super mad. But New York, right? The conversation is, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. So no one cares about bringing the others with them. It's like, I'm here to stake my claim. I'm here to plant my flag, and I'm here to create my destiny, right? Like me, 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 me. So that obviously creates a certain conversation. So if that's the conversation, and then this me, me, me person comes to try to help you, you're like, you're just like me, and you're here to get your own. So why the fuck are you being nice to me? And then we go to other places, like we travel down south somewhere, we go to the Midwest, and New Yorkers are like, what the fuck is wrong with people? Why are they so nice? And it just, right, like I moved from New York to Florida, and I can tell you, I haven't honked my horn one time here since end of July, which is unheard of. But you're here, and it's like there's a different energy. But I digress. So back to self-sabotage. First thing we want to get is that this mechanism is actually trying to help us. I know it doesn't feel like that at times. I get that. I just want you to let this soak in. Like, it's not here to hurt me. It's actually here to protect me. The issue is simply this. Your system has a very limited capacity to feel safe. And so the red line, like on a car, say could be 7,000, 8,000 revs per minute, right? So that's like a healthy engine. Yours might be at 1,000 because you're not actually able to take that level of charge. So self-sabotage kicks in really, really early. And what that simply means is this: until there's safety and ground in our systems. And what I mean by that is there's all of these various parts that don't feel good enough, don't feel gotten, don't feel understood, don't feel like they'll ever make it, whatever it is, right? Like those are the parts that get triggered, and those are the parts that get hit. And we don't want to look and notice those parts. We want to go about our business. We want someone empower me, give me the tools so I don't have to deal with that nonsense. But you've already done that. And are the parts going away? Have any of you guys had the self-sabotage parts just miraculously like, hey, Alex, you've been doing great. I'll see you later. Bye, Lisa. Thanks for the memories. Have any of you guys like watched any of these self-sabotage parts disappear? No, right? Like they're still here. And this piece that I'm about to tell you, you might not like what I'm about to say, but they're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. Think about this. Like if you removed a safety feature on a car, on a bike, on a plane, on a whatever it is, right? Like there's systems, and then there's fail safes to these systems. If you removed a fail safe to the system, what would happen to any system? It would cease to exist, right? Like it would burn out, it would fry, it would destroy itself. Okay. That's what these are. These self-sabotage parts, as we call them, are just simply safety precautions. And Alex is pointing to like, I'm starting to love that part too. And by the way, guys, this takes practice. It takes the ability, first and foremost, to be able to move awareness and disconnect awareness from here and actually witness yourself. Subject object, like actually witness yourself from a subjective point of view, where you're not in the part. Because what tends to happen is the self-sabotage part takes hold of you and hijacks you and moves you in every single direction. How many of you guys have noticed, and just say I here in the comment box, how many of you have noticed that when this self-sabotage pattern kicks in, you have very little say or very little control about your mood, your state of emotion, the actions that you're going to take? It's like a fully hijacked experience. How many of you guys would agree that that's accurate? Yeah. And I'm just going to read while you guys are answering that. So Natalie says, I've noticed how I reject this group every few months, can be close and engaged, and then I disassociate. Exactly. And that's, Natalie, and like the reason we're always there with support and open arms is because we know that this work does that to people. One of the first things I say to people when they join our emotional intelligence mastery program is I tell them that at some point they're going to hate me. I tell them that at some point they're going to hate the program and they're going to hate the process. Because I know we've designed this work to hit and activate those parts so you can see them. The difference is you've tried to see them and understand them. And honestly, they don't care whether you understand them or not. When a 3-year-old part inside of you feels like it's not good enough, and you want to take this 3-year-old boy or girl to start a new relationship or to start a new business, does this 3-year-old girl or boy go, yes, let's go start that new business. I'm excited. Should I put on my big girl pants for today? Or is it like, oh, fuck no. No. We should not do that. This is how it's going to end. We're going to lose all our money. Our heart's going to be broken. It's going to be a disaster. If we do this, we're going to really die. Like, we really should not do this. And it will throw everything at you. It will use your education, your age, your weight, your money. It will use every trick in the book it knows until you do what? You stop. Does this resonate? Are you guys like picking this up? Does this feel accurate in your experience? And does seeing it in this way, like in the map that I'm creating for you, is it helpful for you to start to touch this place and this part in a slightly different way? Can you maybe start to see that your approach with this part has been, in a way, combative? It's been a fight. You versus it. And you tell me, anytime you've created a fight in your life, does it ever lead to like amazing circumstances? No, right? So step one is really truly realizing that this is a part of me. And it's only doing what it was programmed to do to actually help me. The second piece is that until I can learn on how to sit with this part, both by myself, with another, and in a group, and let this part actually be seen and witnessed. And at first, I'm telling you right now, these parts are not super psyched about being seen or witnessed. They're tricky. In fact, all the books and all the trainings that you've done about how to manage certain parts of you, guess what? These parts get that same information. And so as you get more and more clever, these parts are getting more and more clever right alongside of you. And some of you guys probably noticed like they use similar tactics against you. So step one is, okay, I can really see this part trying to protect me and not trying to destroy my life. Because for most of us, we've been in such an awareness that this thing is trying to destroy me and has destroyed me and all of that kind of stuff. And so it creates that combative relationship, right? And we know what you resist persists. So the more you fight it, the more it gets locked in. Step one. Step two, you want to learn daily practices that allow you to first and foremost become aware of where these parts live inside of you. Where does that little boy, where does that little girl live? And then once you learn how to do that, it's okay, how do I actually sit and bring awareness and medicine to these parts? Because these parts only exist in all of us because at some point in our development, this specific part, and there's hundreds of them, but let's say this specific part that you're bringing through right now wasn't met by another adult with the medicine and with the attunement that it needed. And once that happened, it's created what we call a rupture. Now, there are ruptures that happen that are like from physical pain, like someone did like a hard physical act to you, you know, like mental abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, things like that, right? Those are the hard ones. But then there's also soft ruptures. And soft ruptures are, you know, mom just didn't have attunement while I was having a tantrum, right? Instead of being with me, she offered me a lollipop. And now, as I'm older, every time I throw a hissy fit, I need sugar to calm myself down. Thanks, mom. My mom tried to distract me. Great. So now every time something happens, I need to figure out ways to distract myself. So really all that's happened is there was an attunement. And here's the best news. Once you learn these simple skills, you, not me, not Guy, not our coaches, not anyone here at Satori Prime, you learn to be the parent for these parts, and you learn to give these parts the medicine that they were never able to receive. And here's what happens. If the red limiter of safety is stuck at 1,000, right, RPM, as you bring more safety to this part, so now the idea of like going out and taking an opportunity is not like, oh my God, it's the end of the world, we're going to die. It's like, this is a stretch, but okay, let's see what happens, right? So now instead of 1,000, you've raised that red line to say 3,000. Now you tell me, in that small shift, right, from here to here, how many more opportunities will you be able to witness and allow into your space if this part wasn't constantly freaking out about what would happen? How much more love would you be able to receive from people who have been trying to connect and share love with you? How much more support would you actually be able to witness in your experience with eyes and felt sense from those that are around you? Because it wouldn't be so damn scary. That's what this is all about. You're either going to be run by these parts, or you're going to learn tools to actually sit with them, give them what they want, what they really want, not what they tell you that they want, but what they really want and need. So, for example, we were just talking about this with our coaches earlier today, and I was saying that there's a part that we all have, this part that always needs to know. Right? How many of you guys ask a lot of questions? You're always looking for answers, whether from us, from books, from right? Like it just always wants to know. That part doesn't feel safe when it doesn't have information. So it's convinced itself that the more information it's going to have eventually will lead to safety. Like it's just going to keep taking on information and eventually it's going to feel safe. Here's my question. You've been trying to feed this part incessantly, I might add, incessantly, for decades. As a student, as a worker, as an adult, just more information, more information, more information, more information. Has the part ever gone, you know what? I'm good. Thank you for all that information. I have reached a level of safety. Don't need to give me any more information. Has anyone ever reached that place with this part that's constantly asking questions? Probably not. Right? And that just goes to show you like a lot of the things that these parts convince you that they need or want are not what they actually need and want. It's just what it's felt like, okay, give me more of this. For some of you, it's like money, right? I need more money because once I have X amount of money, then this part will feel safe. And you get more money and you work harder. And now you're this and that. Does the part ever get to a place where it's like, all right, you know what? We hit it. We got that magic number of money and like, I'm good. I feel safe. Or how many of you in relationships where the part just feels like it needs someone there? Someone needs to be there. But then you could be in a room full of hundreds, if not thousands of people, and you're still going to feel just as alone. Someone could sit there and try to connect with you, and you'll still feel alone. And there's never enough that someone can show you that they love you or support you for this part to go, you know what? That's just the right amount of connection and love. I'm good. Thank you. No. Anyone ever have any of these things magically happen? No. And so this work is a practice of allowing life to show itself to you. But you are now in an awakened place, like drastically more awake, to the point that even the drastic awakeness is going to fucking piss you off because you're like, I don't want to feel this shit. How many of you that have worked with us would agree that you got to this place in doing any level of this work where you're like, please make it stop. I don't want to deal with this right now. The question is though, like, you're still searching, but it's so much easier to search out there in the dark than actually look inside to reveal the shadows of ourselves that will allow the light to actually come through. Yeah. So Natalie said, yep. And then it's a gift though. It is. It takes time to get to realize like what a gift this is because this is the work. This is the thing that we all want, but we just want our healing and our results to come in a way that again feels good to these parts. So it's all inside of this like really, really small, narrow lane And it's like, okay, as long as we stay in this lane, we're going to be comfortable and we'll have a little bit of progress. So it'll feel okay. But, it's not going to be too jarring because we're not going to actually have to deal with any of it. Yeah. Like here, all those parts are welcome. The parts that feel insignificant and unworthy. The parts that feel like if they don't achieve or produce, that they're a piece of crap. The parts that feel like they are unlovable. They have a home here, like a legit home here, where they can be witnessed and they can be felt for the first time ever. And when your system receives that level of coherence, it receives that level of attunement from another, and this other could be a complete stranger, your life begins to change. And instead of having to figure out life, life figures out itself around you. And that's what's on offer here. This work is not complicated. It really is not. Wax on, wax off. It just takes you showing up. It takes you saying yes over and over and over, even in the times where you're not going to want to say yes. And it doesn't matter how much I do this work. I'm constantly in awe of how life continues to show up and how I continue to open up my ability to be in the acceptance of what is and what is not. Yeah, and Lisa's pointing to it beautifully. Like, she says, I make it more complicated. We all do. By the way, that is a protector too. Because it knows, like, exactly, surrender experiment. It knows. The parts know, your soul knows, like, it knows that, okay, if I just go in there and I'm able to sit and witness and bring more peace through surrender, which will bring compassion, acceptance, and love to all of me, all the parts that I've been trying to manage and figure out and get rid of, etc. If I can just do that, then it's all going to start to move. But the protectors are really, really scared of what you're going to uncover. Because the times that you have felt them and the times that you have experienced them have been scary. There's no getting around it. They've been very uncomfortable. So asking your system to go back in there can be scary. Now, here's the difference. I don't invite you to do this work on your own. I don't think that's smart, especially when you're starting out. I think it's rather dumb. And I say that because I've tried. And the reason that I think it's dumb is twofold. One, this part got ruptured in connection with another being. The rupture happened while in connection. It didn't happen while you were alone in your room playing with your Legos, right? And so the healing needs to be repaired in that similar circumstance. So that's one, okay? That's what it just needs. The second piece is, if you're the one doing your work on your own, then who's actually doing the work is your mind. And your mind is going to guide you to levels where it feels comfortable with you doing the work. So it's going to feel like you're going to go and you're going to touch this thing like you've done a million times. And then your mind's going to distract you and take you out because it doesn't want you to feel that. Now, when you sit with another or you sit in a group, even better, your system relaxes. It allows for the medicine without you having to do a goddamn thing to enter your system and start to shift and move and release and heal those things that you have been trying to manage, and figure out. And on the other side of whatever is scary or sad or frustrating or whatever it might be is everything that you've ever wanted. It's the all moments in life. It's like coming up for air when you didn't even know you were choking. It's like releasing an anvil that's been on your shoulders for decades and you weren't even aware that you were carrying it. But once someone says like, hey, let that go. And you're like, oh my God, why didn't anyone tell me? Like that. Like that. So, and yeah, Lisa's saying like, I'm starting to get it. It takes time. This is not something that just like I can magically express and share with you. That happens just like by the snap of the fingers. It's for everyone. It's not like that, you know. Let me see some of your comments here. Yeah. So Claire says, I want someone to hold my hand. Yeah, like we all do. There's this other protector piece, right? Like this other self-sabotage piece convincing us that if we ask for help and if we ask for support, that means that we're weak or that we're stupid or that we're incapable or whatever it might be. And even that keeps you stuck where you're at. So just like saying yes. I said this to Wayne. I know he's here. I said to Wayne, I say it to a lot of you guys, but like saying yes is one of the biggest things that you can do. Like you want a transformational step, say yes. Say yes to investing and taking time for yourself to do this level of work. Like give yourself that gift. See where this path can take you. George, as well as him being sad and loving and hugging. My heart, I can't act at all. Whoever it is, get paralyzed and hypervigilant in case what I do is wrong, bugger. I know I will get there and relax one day and laugh. Surrender, yes. Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Yeah. So here's what I'm going to offer you. Over this past year, like we really shifted how we structure our training programs, okay, our training and coaching programs. And something that I'm realizing more and more and more of late is, right, like we all want to be there already. Like how many of you guys, like you just want to kind of like skip the line, get to the front and go, oh, okay, all right, here it is. Here it is what, right? And as much as I would love to give that to you, truly I would. And trust me, like if I ever find that magical thing where you can eat this, you know, pancake and drizzle it with this level of sauce, like it will give you that. Trust me, like that's what I'll be promoting. Okay. Till that time comes, what I'm going to share with you is the fastest way that I know, and I've seen thousands, if not tens of thousands of people go through the process to tell you like, this is the fastest way. I don't believe in shortcuts. This is just the fastest way. And so what that looks like is, first and foremost, you have to get an understanding of these structures, of these patterns, how they operate, how they take you out of this. Because here's the bottom line. Healing will never happen in here. You've tried it for a long time. Healing happens in here, neck down. This, the world of information and understanding. This, from here down, the world of healing. However, this is a very tricky bugger, as you guys know, and it does not allow you to go into here because it is afraid. So all the self-sabotage tactics are coming because there's protectors and mechanisms here that stop you from going into here. But if you actually want to heal, that happens in here. So the way we design our program, there's 3 levels. Level 1 is we deal with this. Level 1 is like our mindset mastery program, right? Like that's where we deal with this. Give me space so I can shift awareness down into here and give up the world of understanding. Give up the world of needing to know more or getting more information, because what I have found is that that is the biggest brake pedal in your life, is your incessant nature, human incessant nature, to want to understand. Healing is paradoxical. Our emotional states are paradoxical. Like, the understanding is the biggest brake pedal in your life. Okay. So that's what we deal with mindset mastery. Level 2 is now here, me. How do I find those parts of me and start to heal those parts? Now we're looking at level 2. And level 3 is, once we've created that, now how do we take that out into the environment? How do I not just impact my own being? How do I impact my environment? How does this play into my family and my friends and my coworkers, right? So you can see it's very logical way, right? First, handle the lock, the trap door that doesn't allow us in. We open that, then we get into here. Once we get into here and we open this up, now we can open to the universe. Okay. So here's what my invitation is. We have a live event coming up November 13th and 14th. Okay. This is going to be our last event of the year. After that, we basically shut down our doors. We're going to take most of December off. It's just what we do. I know you guys are on vacation, so we kind of take that month to just recharge, reconnect, do all that kind of stuff. So with that being said, I want to offer you this. So we have, I'll put this up here right now. We have this mindset mastery program. What we've noticed is, even people, that's our level 1 program. So even people that have jumped to level 2 and level 3 that have not done level 1 have not had as amazing of experiences as those that have gone through all the 3 steps. So we're kind of like tuning in and rejiggering and going, you know what, like, everyone just gets to start here. It doesn't matter how much mindset work you've done or anything like that. The intention of this work is very different, and it puts you in an inquiry. And that inquiry begins to unlock the mechanisms that have stopped you from going within. Now, we want to make sure that only the right people get into any of our programs. And so from now on and going forward, in order to get into any of our programs, starting with level 1 mindset mastery, you need to apply. Okay. Meaning, like, we're not going to just take everyone. You can't just buy into the programs at all. So my recommendation is, if this conversation resonated with you, give up that you need to understand something. Give up that you need to be somewhere in your life. And if you're wanting that level of healing, simply say yes to yourself. Go to that link, satoriprime.com/apply, and apply to see if you can get in to the upcoming Mindset Mastery course. Okay. Once you're in there, we can have different conversations about you joining the level 2 and level 3. Well, everyone gets to start here. Now, here's the good news. That program, once you register, you actually get a free ticket to our next live event. All right. So live event ticket is $297. This, the Mindset Mastery, which is 6 modules and 6 weeks of live coaching. So you're not just, again, no more training and doing this stuff on your own. Doesn't work. We've all figured it out, right? Does not work. So 6 weeks, 6 modules, 6 weeks of coaching training, or being with a coach. That's that. And that's all of that will cost you an extra $200 on top of the live event ticket. So why not just have both? And if you need to split up payments because it's easier for you, do that. I don't care. Just get to that place to say yes. Once you say yes, all the stuff of self-sabotage and all the stuff that you've been trying to figure out, all of it goes out the window. It really is that simple. All right. So I'm going to leave you with that. If you guys have any questions or anything that you're wanting to follow up with us on or anything like that, feel free to drop them in the chat box. Myself, my team, everyone else, follows up on these. So if you're needing any additional assistance or anything like that, please feel free to drop it in there. And yeah, until we meet again, I hope you have an amazing, amazing rest of your day. And yeah, I hope this was helpful. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to drop them in there. I will check them out later today. All right, my friends, have an amazing day. Sending you lots of love. Bye for now.